I know it seems like I pick on Scott Galloway a lot, but he's one of my top 5 lists of people out here, including Dave Ramsey and the rest of them, that are part of that leading men to slaughter crew. And this argument it just makes it worse. Marriage is a luxury item. Bullshit. You think about it from that perspective. This is a man that's out of touch with the average, ordinary, everyday working man. These guys, I mean, part of this is elitist mentality. And I'll tell you, I've been married. I've done my time. And there's a difference between being married and being successfully married. And people say, well, a peaceful life, how can you give an opinion on marriage? You've been divorced. Well, I'll tell them that just because you're still married doesn't mean you're successful in marriage. Shoot, sometimes divorce is just the end of it. Many people that are married, that are the divorce already, they're just living under the contract. But that marriage ended 10, 15 years ago. And they just, whatever financial obligation, maybe they're living for the kids, but half of them be sleeping in different bedrooms. Dude be staying in the park till 7 p.m. until the darkest come and the cops tell you have to leave because you don't want to go home. You're working extra hours of overtime to avoid going home. I live in the real world. Marriage today for many men is they're living in disrespect. Just watch couples therapy. They're living in disrespect, and this is why I say married men, I treat them brothers like combat veterans. They have sacrificed their life, they have sacrificed their freedom to build us a country, to raise healthy kids. They stick around and living for their kids because the relationship in a gynocentrism has become all about her. And the society and the culture reinforces that. And once that man signs that contract with the state, it's basically like inviting John Gotti into the house and he's on her side. It's like he's her big brother, and he will break your knees if you go with the state with your resources. So that's why I salute to all my married brothers. Again, these situations. See, this is the problem with life. I don't talk about you. See, a guy will come in here with his anecdotal situation about his particular marriage and maybe the 10% woman that he's married to, and project that onto the rest of us. Well, you got to pick right. Well, guess what, buddy? All the guys before you thought they picked right. They may have gotten a bait and switch after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. You know, they'll come in here virtue signal and lecturing us. Oh, half of these cucked dudes. Again, for much respect to the masculine men that are married and those who are successfully married. The peaceful life is not anti-relationship, anti-marriage. Again, this channel is anti-torture, but what I am is anti-bullshit. And I think Scott Galloway is full of shit. I think he's an agent, he's a plant, and he is a representation of this gynocracy or the system that's trying to get men ignorantly back on the plantation. And him and guys like Dave Ramsey and many of these pastors and these Jellyback simp guys, they'll lead you to slaughter because when that shit fails, you're on your own. See, they'll tell you about go take risks, do this, do that, do that. Not that you shouldn't take risks. Everything comes with a risk. I just let you know the reality of life and you decide what you want to do as a man. But they won't tell you that. They'll put a fantasy spin on shit, and there's some of these YouTubers selling dreams and fantasy because this is how they make their living off of YouTube, and there's no incentive to be honest and real with you. A peaceful life wants to be irrelevant. Period. This goes down, I just go sit at the beach. I got a bunch of projects and hobbies I got to do at the end of the day. But getting back to Scott Galloway, they don't care what happens to you. They think about your life, and you want you to sacrifice you as a disposable tampon for the system he represents, for his corporate masters and his government masters. They don't care about your outcome. They don't care about your embarrassment. Well, look at the guys who are out here now. Will Smith, Kevin Costner, Emmett Smith, Kenny Smith. You go down the list. Tyrese. All these, Johnny Depp. Does that look like some luxury item to you? That looked like C and B torture to me, getting cooked out here with the system. The system is cooking them. Family court, women doing the bait and switch, lawsuits, liability. I mean, there's all kinds of shit that's involved when it comes to marriage and living in the house with a woman. Basically, you're depending on her good character and good nature, and you're praying that you vetted her properly or vetted her to the best of your ability, because the only power you have is the power to walk away. And that's not easy when you have kids. That's not easy when you have investments. That's not easy when you have houses and cars and money and resources and tied up that can be extracted to you from a system that rewards women to leave. And all she has to do is have a feeling. No longer do. Maybe one day she wakes up a peaceful life. I don't like your bald head. And you're looking more and more like Mark Curry every day. So I'm tired of seeing your bald head and it's time to move on. And I'm taking most of your shit with me. That's the problem with the fundamental system, is it rewards people for violating their contracts and violating their commitments. And that is a system that gives tremendous amount of leverage to women once a man signs that contract. That's why they have a problem with single men like me, even though I'm old and past my whatever, and I have that. They don't want me talking to the young bucks, because they want you to just go blindly, Dave Ramsey and Scott Galloway, blindly walking there without the knowledge and the wisdom that older men passed down to you. And it's not bitterness. Trust me. It's just knowledge and experience. I come from more of a crisis intervention perspective. I've dealt with the dead bodies or looking for the missing leg in the bushes in my law enforcement career. I've had situations, a guy park up on the bridge, walk around the truck and jump straight in the damn river, couldn't find his body. Married guy, having a problem in his marriage. I see the dudes parked in the park. I know it's dark. I know that 1,000-yard stare in his eyes. And you want to talk to that guy and tell him, look here, this shit will pass. Them kids are going to get older. And even if she left the house and left you, you're going to be okay. Take care of your health. Take care of your money. You're going to be okay in the distance. You see, that pain, that awful pain and burning on the inside, you feel. I mean, men want to protect their kids. You want to be a part of your family. You don't understand that feeling of betrayal, because when you made your commitments in front of God, in front of people, you took them serious, because men operate off of honor, the honor system. Women operate off the feeling system. And they're surrounded with a coalition of individuals that don't care nothing about your sacrifices that you've committed to build a life that you have. Many of them actually, behind your back, will try and tear that system down, especially the women that are single, who encourage other women to leave their husbands and leave their men. And you know what I'm talking about. So you have a system in a gynocentric environment that really offers men no incentive. So how do you say, in an environment like that, where men are basically, the system is basically rigged against men, because I used to be a part of the system. And that's why they won't challenge me. 22 years of law enforcement. How many domestics you think I've been to? How many marriages? I know what goes on in people's houses. You can't bullshit me, Scott Galloway, or any of you cuck pastors or Jellyback simp. Peaceful Life will tear you apart to pieces, because I know what type of man you are. Most of you guys are in these houses are bitch-led men. The women run shit. They run shit. Stop it. Knock it off. You're a simp. Stop it. You come over. Many of these guys come out here, they project to other men. But see, because what they do is they double down on masculinity. If you say to them anything about women and female accountability, they'll reverse the conversation back. Well, men need to be this. Men need to do this. Men need to level up and be this. No. We'll talk about men tomorrow. Let's talk about women today. Oh, if guys will do this they don't know it. They're scared of the women. They cannot say anything to women because they're scared. They're scared they won't get any box. They're scared they might upset the wife, or they may offend the matriarchal culture, especially in the community where there's an infestation of the simp virus. The Jellyback simps are the new mutation that's going on right now. So So they can't talk to them. So what they do is they go after men. It's this misplaced aggression because their balls have been taken by their wives. She clipped them, put them in the jar, keeps them in the pantry behind the pickles. And like they have to ask for their balls to get outside. Like, honey, can I have my balls this weekend? I want to go out and sit and watch the game with the fellas. And she'll just make him sign on a piece of paper. He sign out his balls for the weekend. And he come over there, he talk to you. Hey, what's up, ball? Talking bigging up his chest. He has to turn his balls in at the end of the day to his wife. He has to ask permission. His masculinity has been compromised. And he's just, or these happy wife, happy life guys that just see their whole life and their whole identity by having a woman. They're ran by women. I can smell it on them. I can smell the essence and the aura of Jellyback simp. It smells almost like burnt fish or something. They've been scorched and burnt, and their self-esteem has been beaten down into the ground. And that's why the women are tired of them. They're tired of them. And they look at him like, like this dude right here. He let me take his balls. And I got to have sex with him. Look at him. He even have love handles like a bitch. No, I'm sorry. Don't get carried away here. But she's mad. He don't arouse her anymore. He don't make her moist. That's why she have him on that routine of, 2 sessions of marital missionary a month. Because she's disgusted. He don't even have any pushback, any fight. He's lost his spinal cord. That's why I call him Jellybacks. He's an amphibious creature. And he's out here trying to reclaim his masculinity talking to us. Like, get out of here, dude. Go reclaim your spine. And tell your wife, hand you your balls out of the pantry before somebody make a mistake and throw them in the frying pan and you doomed. Then you're like, what the hell happened? Somebody cooked my balls. They thought it was pickles or something. Anyhow, or some pickled eggs or whatever the hell people eat these days. Shit might accidentally end up in the pot. The wrong family member comes on or something like that. So you better tell her to give you back your balls before you talk to us. But Scott Galloway and these plants of the system trying to lower men black on this plantation without knowledge because his corporate masters, they need men to get married to support the economy, to produce more kids. Nothing wrong with these things, but not on their terms. They want masculinity on their terms, the way they want it. That doesn't benefit you, where you're just a slave. You get responsibility without no authority. They want you to be all the masculine things, but you can't tell people what to do. They want you to sacrifice your life, sacrifice your money, sacrifice your resources. Don't even worry about unfair laws. They're changing the laws, treating men better, and women have to be better to get what they want out of men. But see, they're not going to do that because they're afraid. Women do 80% of the spending and the shopping. They can't upset their voting bloc. They can't upset the women. So then what they do is they say, no, they need men. They know there's a problem with men. But they have to play this straddle this fence, and they double down on men. And the men realize that, look, this is like the church. The church, I'm talking about, where they start bashing men 2-3 times a week because they had a whole bunch of single mommies and leftover ran through women, and they have to pander to them to keep that money coming. And the men realize, like, yo, this is whack. Anybody with any testosterone headed out the back door. And they're like, I ain't listening to this bullshit. These 304s in here, chicken heads. They found Jesus and become born again virgins. That church, that's why I say the church is like Jasper. Instead of rebuilding engines, they rebuild vaginas, dip them in holy waters, and they're born again virtuous. And then they're going to charge marriage MSRP. That's why I don't go up in there, because I don't want to listen to that stuff. I send my prayers in the backyard. At least I'd rather send my prayers next to the ducks and keep it moving. Because up in there is all kinds of debauchery. And you look in those women's eyes and you be like, oh, I can see that Jezebel spirit, those demons jumping from one eye to the other. You a scammer. You're trying to get one of these guys to come in here, and you're going to use that religion to say, oh, we can't live in sin. You better marry me. That's that bullshit game right there. You know what I'm talking about, gentlemen. Yeah, they run game on your ass. But that's what happened. But marriage is some luxury item. Dudes are getting stretched and tortured, and humiliated, living in disrespect, where their life has been reduced purely to servitude. Their blood pressure is up, their obesity is up, their health problems, and nobody gives a rat's ass about them. He gets sick, the wife's like she don't care. He's last in the house, ranked behind the dog. You know what I'm talking about. I've seen the dudes. His life no longer his no more. All he does is work and pay bills and serve the queen. And every once in a while, he gets some marital missionary. That's his reward. And he gets to walk around with her. And every chance she gets, she takes another brick off his foundation. Many dudes are sleeping with the enemy. You know what I'm talking about. She is eroding your self-esteem because the culture demands that she takes your balls. Every day she's chipping away at your self-esteem, making you feel like a loser, questioning and double talking, going behind your back, talking to people about you. Yeah, I know. Trust me. I've dealt with the bodies of dudes that have been broken men. Yeah, it's me standing in the morgue at 3 o'clock in the morning dealing with that shit. And I'm telling you, that's what it does. It's a slow process of wearing that dude down. You see, broken men, he don't fight no more. He wants to keep peace. You see, she's worn his self-esteem down. Every day she's got a chisel and a hammer and she's hitting away at his self-esteem, breaking him, making him a man that she's going to be unattracted to. See, Scott Galloway, does that sound like a luxury item to you? This goofy talk? No, that's the typical average modern marriage. We're not talking about the 10%, the 15%. Why do you think 89% of men on OnlyFans are married men? Look at the Psychology Today study. Google it yourself. I'm not putting no link in the thing. Google it. They're on OnlyFans because this is the easiest way to get some type of feeling of appreciation or feel something good. Even if it's delusional and it's lies, but at least it's some positive reinforcement and maybe some femininity, because the wife probably starts talking like a man nowadays. She's all that high testosterone in the house. Well, of course she has high testosterone. She took your balls. And she's maybe, swallowed some of your testosterone too. And now she's talking to you with bass in her voice. Guys are living in freaking torture and hell in the West. What are they gonna do? You can't do anything. The system has your hands tied. It's not like I'm not gonna say that. But that's what we're dealing with in the West. Luxury item. Goofy. Scott Galloway is goofy. So is the rest of these goofy liars. That's not luxury item. Like, were you talking about money? Well, money what? Well, how does money help Will Smith? Kevin Costner? Huh? How did it help them? How did it help all these rich dudes? Tom Brady? Huh? What did the money do? This is America. Once you sign that dotted line with the system, all that money shit, the best opportunity you have for money to have powers as a single man. Once you start marrying women in this gynocentric environment, gynocentrism, you've basically given away your power as a man in this Western society. It don't matter. I've dealt with domestics, rich, poor, middle class, it don't make a difference. All get handcuffs put on them because the system itself empowers women in a certain way. They put the police on autopilot, especially since the Violence Against Women's Act of 1994. You see, Peaceful Life understands the law. You see? They put people, and even if they lie, the prosecutors don't want those women prosecuted because we don't want to discourage victims of violence and victims of this from filing complaints. You notice that's why they never go after women who make false allegations. Amber Heard, you see anybody do anything to her? What about the chick that did the, what Rudolph? Her. Nothing ever happened to her. She lied. Dudes got deleted. Nothing happened to her. Why? Because the system itself has told the police that they don't want to discourage victims from filing complaints. How do I know? Because I used to be a part of the system. You didn't know that, did you? The prosecutors just discourage us from filing false police reports. Not maybe now less. Hopefully you get a female cop or something that comes to the scene, especially the lesbian ones. They're harder on the women with domestic violence because they've been through it. So they'll lock up a woman quicker than any man. They'll throw some cuffs on her. Those lesbians You better hope a lesbian shows up at your domestic violence or fake domestic violence complaint. She's about good as going to jail. You know, I'll ride with a lesbian in a second. I'll tell you right now, those women are, yeah, they don't mess around with domestics. Anyhow, but that's just my opinion. Just what kind of, like these dudes, man, I always find it fascinating. It's just repeating, regurgitating nonsense from a goofy culture where people don't tell the truth. That doesn't mean that, like I said, people can have successful marriages and successful relationship, but it has to be done the patriarchal way. And unless you're doing that, you're really dealing with goofiness. Whether you just remove the state. I'm not, like I said, I'm just not, at minimum, keep the government out of your life, the minimum you possibly can. Because when you're dealing with this, you're getting into a system that's incredibly anti-man, anti-masculinity. And this idea of brainwashing men, they want masculinity on their terms. And that's why even with the liberals all now, all of a sudden they need men, they want men, but they can't offend the women, they can't offend the gays, they can't offend these people. And they're like, what are we gonna do? The young men, they are just walking away. They don't want to hear any of that woke crap no more. The new definition of woke, people. Don't come in here about peace. That's not what woke means. The new reality of woke. They don't want that shit. The young men are becoming more conservative in their mindset and their mentality, and they're not falling for the bullshit that the old boomer simps or the Gen X simps would take. They'd rather lay flat than to take a bad deal or to go wife up some retired 304 or leftover woman. They don't care. So it is what it is. Anyhow, peace and blessings to you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. More content coming your way. Luxury item. That's the goofiest shit I ever heard, Scott. Get yourself some damn mental health. Make sure you hit the like. See a therapist or something. That's some bullshit, man. Anyhow, I'm out.